How should I tell my wife I'm filing for divorce to hurt her the least? I am about to tell my wife that I'm filing for divorce. She is a good person, and I do love her. I don't want to hurt her more than necessary, so I want to do it in the kindest way possible and need tips. For those who have been through it, how did your ex tell you in the kindest way possible? Or perhaps, what do you wish had happened differently to help it hurt as little as possible? A long story follows for context, so feel free to skip to react to the key question above. Here's the context. My 41M wife, 43F, and I have been together for 18 years, married for 14, and we have one son, 8M. She is a very kind and thoughtful person, always volunteering in the community and helping others when she can. She has been struggling with depression for about 10 years. We had a span of 4 miscarriages in a row before our son was born, pregnancy number 5, and around the same time, her dad started needing significant care due to Parkinson's. He passed away a couple of years ago, and shortly after, she had to move her mom into memory care due to dementia/Alzheimer's. Suffice it to say, she's been through a lot during this time span. When our son was born, we had the savings for her to take a year off work to be a stay-at-home mom, which has turned into 8 years and counting. I started a side business to replace her income, which I manage in addition to my full-time corporate job. Unfortunately, this decade of misfortune has eroded our marriage. We haven't had sex since becoming parents. At first, I told myself she was just exhausted from breastfeeding and pumping, and surely intimacy would resume after our baby was a year or so old. So, I only really started trying to initiate more in the second and third year of parenting, but I heard every excuse in the book. The most she would eventually agree to was giving me a half-hearted handjob, saying, "Are you almost done?" After a couple of minutes. Physical touch is important to me, and the rejection stung, so I stopped initiating. She also moved herself into our guest bedroom, so we could both get better sleep, and hasn't slept a night in the master bedroom with me since. She'll put an air mattress in the basement for herself if we have family staying over in the guest bedroom. Last year, I went to a therapist to process this all on my own, and he told me we needed to be in marriage counseling as soon as possible. I'd offered it a few times over the years, but she was skeptical it would do anything, so I hadn't pushed it. I figured too, what good would it do if she wasn't wanting to be there in the first place? But with the support from my therapist, I told my wife that I was concerned about our future and finally insisted on marriage counseling. We have now done 6 months of marriage counseling. One of the first things I told our marriage counselor was that I wanted her to start her own individual therapy as well, to start processing the grief and working on the depression. The marriage counselor agreed and told her to find her own therapist, so she's been doing that for about 5 months now as well. Unfortunately, after 6 months of marriage counseling, while our communication has increased, our marriage is maybe 1% improved. She still sleeps in the guest room. She still doesn't have any sexual desire. She claims it's not me. She says she doesn't ever masturbate either and has just lost herself and is numb. With her depression, she struggles to prioritize taking care of things that benefit herself, like going to the dentist. She struggles to articulate what I could do more to help her around the house. She told me when she was pregnant that she doesn't like cleaning, so I hired a house cleaner who has come regularly for 9 years. We trade off nights doing dishes because she doesn't like doing them. She does the cooking and doesn't complain about it. I'll admit cooking isn't really my thing, but I would be happy to figure it out if that ever came up as an issue. The final straw for me was our anniversary that just came and went this year without so much as a kiss or hug, let alone a date. I told her early on in the marriage counseling that not going on dates or traveling together anymore has been really tough on me. Last year, I suggested we find a sitter and go out for dinner together for our anniversary. She countered with, "Nah, why don't you just pick up sushi from the place we like and we can eat as a family?" So, earlier this year in counseling, I told her I wanted us to do 2 things this year. 1. Arrange coverage for our son and have a date night with an overnight stay somewhere nearby for our anniversary, and 2. Plan and go on a family vacation this summer. She agreed, and I asked her for help arranging coverage for our son. We picked dates for both the overnight, the weekend right after our anniversary, and the summer vacation and put them on our shared calendar. 3 days before our anniversary, she asked me what I wanted to do. I reminded her that I had wanted to have an overnight with her and how important it was to me. She said she had asked a few people, but couldn't find coverage for our son on the tentative proposed night. I told her I was hurt that she seemingly gave up and didn't propose an alternate date or offer some sort of compromise. She cried and said she felt awful for letting me down. She ended up saying happy anniversary to me the day of, and that was it. No hug, no kiss, and of course, nothing sexual. Surely she has her side to the story, but I'm ready to file for divorce and move on. Even though the divorce will cost me big financially, I don't care to die a wealthy but unhappy guy. She's a good mom, and I care about her, but I can't tolerate this frustrating situation any longer. I don't want to hurt her more than I inevitably will, so I'm hoping for some solid tips. I do realize I can just file without a discussion first and have her served, but I feel like giving her a heads up is less abrupt and perhaps more kind. Now to the next story, Story 2. My sister is threatening me, F40, to tell my husband, M50, that I am having an emotional affair on Reddit, but I love my husband and I don't think that I am. I have been with my husband for 14 years, and I love him more than anything, but lately, the past 5 years or so, I have had problems with my husband not seeing me. He never listens to me when I talk, and it feels like it is physically painful for him when I talk. He just gets glassy-eyed, smiles, and when I ask what he is smiling at, he just says, "Look at you." This often turns into him wanting sex. I don't remember the last time we talked about something serious. I have never seen myself as a shallow or ignorant person, and I truly believe that I have many interesting ideas and thoughts. I feel very small when I am talking to him because of how he dismisses my thoughts or turns them into how cute my brain is, and then he wants to kiss me and more. It feels like he shuts me up with kisses. I have told him about this so many times, and he denies it by saying that he thinks that I am very smart and my thoughts are very interesting and that he enjoys discussing things in life with me. He says that, but he never does it. I am not stupid. Sometimes he even comes home admiring someone from work about a discussion he had with them that we have discussed before. He is in awe about their thoughts that I literally had and discussed with him, but he dismissed as silly or implausible. If I say that I said the same thing, he would act confused and say, "Oh, did you? That was smart." Everything else is great between us if you don't count having any serious discussion as an important pillar in a relationship. He is kind and loving, helps me with everything, and we complete each other. He is considerate and romantic, and he truly loves everything, physically, about me. I could gain 50 pounds tomorrow, and he would still find me attractive. He still takes me out on dates and gets me flowers every weekend. I finish late on Fridays, and I come home to a clean kitchen and amazing smelling food. My favorite desserts and flowers. I could be craving something, and I would find it the next morning waiting for me before I woke up. And I don't just love him for what he does for me, but I love him for him. The way love works. I started talking to a guy online, and he truly listens to me. We don't talk about anything sexual. We are both in relationships, and he doesn't know how I look, so it's not like he is playing me to get in my pants. We have never expressed any interest in meeting, but I love talking to him, and he thinks that I am very smart and interesting. I feel like a human being with him. I have no feelings for him, but my sister found out, and she is saying that I am cheating on my husband. I thought it was really stupid because I love my husband and wouldn't exchange him for the world, but she says that letting another man make me feel good about myself is cheating. She threatened to tell my husband, and I wouldn't have minded if she didn't plan to twist it into telling my husband that I am having an affair. I feel confused because I never thought it was an emotional affair, and now I am insecure about myself. I blocked the guy because the second someone insinuated that it was an affair, I ended it, even if I am not seeing it yet. But I just thought that maybe I am not seeing it from the inside, and an outsider needed to tell me. But my sister insists that I should tell my husband about everything, and it doesn't matter that I blocked the guy. I need to delve deeper into the dynamics of my relationship with my husband and how it got to this point. Our relationship has always had its ups and downs, like any marriage, but there was a time when we were genuinely connected on every level. We would talk for hours about our dreams, our plans for the future, and our shared interests. We were each other's best friends. But gradually, things began to change. 5 years ago, my husband got a promotion at work that required him to travel frequently and work longer hours. I was proud of him and supported him fully, but the increased responsibilities took a toll on our communication. He was often too tired to engage in meaningful conversations when he got home. I understood and tried to be patient, thinking it was just a phase. However, as time went on, I began to feel increasingly isolated. Our conversations dwindled to mundane topics, and any attempt I made to discuss something deeper was met with disinterest or deflection. Feeling unheard and undervalued, I started seeking validation elsewhere. It wasn't a conscious decision to look for someone to talk to, but when I stumbled upon an online forum where people discussed various topics, I found myself drawn to it. I could share my thoughts and opinions freely, and people actually listened and responded thoughtfully. It was like a breath of fresh air. That's where I met this guy. We started chatting about books, movies, philosophy, and life in general. It was purely platonic, and it felt good to have someone who appreciated my mind. Our conversations were engaging and stimulating, and for the first time in years, I felt heard and understood. When my sister found out about these conversations, she was furious. She accused me of having an emotional affair, something I had never considered. In my mind, I was just talking to a friend, but her words struck a chord. Was I really cheating on my husband emotionally? I felt a wave of guilt and confusion wash over me. I love my husband and would never do anything to hurt him intentionally. But was I already doing that by seeking emotional fulfillment elsewhere? Out of respect for my marriage and to prove to myself that I wasn't doing anything wrong, I decided to block the guy. It wasn't easy because our conversations had become a significant part of my daily life, but I knew it was the right thing to do. My sister, however, was adamant that I needed to come clean to my husband about everything. She believed that hiding it would only make things worse if he found out later. Now I'm stuck in a predicament. Do I tell my husband about the conversations and risk him feeling betrayed, or do I keep it to myself and try to work on our relationship in silence? I don't want to lose him, but I also don't want to start our journey towards improvement on a foundation of lies. I'm reaching out here to seek advice. Has anyone else been in a similar situation? How did you handle it? Did you come clean to your spouse? And if so, how did they react? How did you rebuild the trust and communication in your marriage? I'm genuinely looking for guidance on how to navigate this challenging situation without causing unnecessary pain to the man I love. I understand that everyone's experiences are different, and what works for one couple might not work for another. But hearing others' stories and advice might help me find a way forward. Thank you for taking the time to read my story and for any insights you can offer. Now next story, Story 2. I think my wife is entertaining men for money behind my back. I suspect my partner, 30F, is entertaining men for money behind my back, 29M. Recently, I became suspicious and downloaded the text-free app to investigate. I created a fake identity named Frank and reached out to her. To my shock, she agreed to meet Frank for $500 in exchange for CX without a condom within the first hour of texting. This coincided with her telling me that she was going to clean someone's house after work for $500, claiming it wouldn't take long but a couple of hours. Knowing my suspicions might arise, she reassured me there was nothing to worry about, dismissing my concerns as insecurity and promising she'd never do anything to betray me. Throughout the day, I continued texting her as Frank, engaging in explicit conversations. Despite believing our CX life was healthy and fulfilling, we have CX multiple times a day, and she initiates as often as I do. She responded to Frank's advances without hesitation. I even arranged to meet her, and when I arrived, she was standing outside with items like a new toothbrush, toothpaste, shampoo, conditioner, and soap, ready to go to Frank's place. Initially, she tried to dismiss me, thinking I was just role-playing, But her reaction shifted when I confronted her as Frank. She was genuinely shocked and then angry when she realized I wasn't playing a game. Her justification for buying new items and making plans to meet Frank while being pregnant with my child and agreeing to unprotected sex left me devastated and questioning everything. We've had financial struggles, including her suspension from work, but I've always worked overtime to support us, ensuring we never missed rent. We even sold videos to make ends meet, but this crossed a line for me. I care deeply for her, but this discovery has shaken me to the core. I'm a recovered addict with nearly 2 years of sobriety, and this situation is severely affecting my mental health. I feel torn between wanting to support her through the pregnancy and the possibility that she's already cheated on me. Do I move forward and try to work through this, or do I wait until the baby arrives, get a paternity test, and reassess our relationship? I'm at a loss. Part of me wants to believe she didn't fully comprehend what she was doing, but another part fears this isn't the first time or the last. Can I trust her again? Should I confront her directly about my findings, or wait for a clearer perspective? I desperately need guidance on how to navigate this turbulent situation without jeopardizing my own well-being and the future of our child. If anyone has been through something similar or has advice to offer, I'm open to hearing it. Thank you for listening and for any insights you can share. Now, last story 4. Is it fair to leave my husband alone with our 2 kids while I get a break for a few days? I, 31F, am a mom to a 4-year-old and 4-month-old. My husband, 35M, works from home and is a great father, always available for his kids to support me. I've been struggling with severe postpartum depression since my second was born, and even with some professional support and an amazing husband, every day is a struggle. Some days I am super mom and able to take the kids to the park all day, homeschool my eldest, do a workout, run errands, do laundry, clean the house, make a healthy dinner, and be a calm and loving mother and wife to my family. The next day, I'm an absolute mess who struggles to get out of bed or off the couch. I'm irritable, yelling at everyone, crying uncontrollably all day, binge eating, and so sad/guilty/hopeless. My husband really struggles with this because he thinks I'm completely fine and then doesn't understand why I'm so snappy with him. We communicate a lot, but he just struggles to understand depression, how to help me, or that I'm not just magically healed if I'm having a reasonable day. Even on those good days/mornings, my happiness feels muted somewhat. I also fake it till I make it a lot because I feel I need to keep it together for my family. I was diagnosed with functional depression/PPD. I was almost committed into a mom and baby unit in the first month because of intense intrusive thoughts, and although things are not that dark for me anymore, every day I have to fight the heavy feeling that I wish I wasn't here anymore and often catch myself fantasizing about death, like I'm just waiting for it to feel like the right time. It's honestly scary. Not for me, I'm not scared of dying, but for my children to grow up without a mother. To make matters worse, my baby cries all day every day. My first was so easy, and this baby is just unhappy 90% of the day, even if I'm doing everything I can possibly think of to keep him happy. 3 doctors we saw just kept telling me some babies just cries, they couldn't find anything wrong with him. I exclusively breastfeed him, and on the one hand, I desperately want to stop just for a break. I'm exhausted. And on the other hand, I feel like 10% better emotionally after feeding him, maybe oxytocin. And he does often soothe back to sleep at night when breastfed. My husband wakes up with our 4-year-old every day and does breakfast, puts our 4-year-old to bed most nights, cooks dinner most nights, does laundry when I don't get around to it, works from home occasionally, and wears baby in a wrap so I don't feel so touched out/can sleep/can spend one-on-one time with our 4-year-old. All of this while making enough money that I can stay home and not worry about expenses basically. He's amazing. I feel horrible that I can't shake this depression despite all of the support I get from him. So, that leads me to my question, is it fair for me to leave my husband alone with my children for 3 nights while I go and stay in a hotel by myself? I just want a break, alone, to do nothing or to do things just for me. I don't know, a break from my life. It means he will have to do bottles, a lot per day as our baby is so young, of expressed breast milk and possibly some formula, which hopefully baby will take. It means he'll have to do night wakes with our screaming baby and possibly a night wake with our eldest, and then get up with our eldest in the morning, work during baby's naps with eldest doing an activity or watching a movie but entertain them both otherwise. He might have to do kinda drop off and pick up with baby screaming in the car. He will also be dealing with a lot of emotions from our 4 years old that is glued to me all day, prefers me, and possibly a lot more crying from our baby who is being separated from his mother for the first time so young. It's a lot is what I'm saying, but I feel like I either take a break and my husband toughs it out as a solo dad for a few days, or I eventually break and he could become a solo dad permanently.